Ever wondered what makes TV so powerful in Jamaica? Time to find out. Welcome to Global TV Group 358, where television meets innovation. We're not just about shows, we're about shaping society. In Jamaica, TV keeps you informed, connects diverse voices, and supports democracy. Imagine a Jamaica where broadcasters unite, sharing data and collaborating globally. That's us, a unified voice in the TV industry. Did you know TV advertising is still king? It drives website traffic, boosts brand equity, and powers integrated campaigns. Even in an age of digital, TV stands strong, resilient in tough times. Our global TV deck is your treasure trove of insights and data. With charts, graphs, and success stories, it's your guide to impactful TV advertising. Curious to learn more? Visit our website and see how Global TV Group 358 keeps television at the heart of entertainment in Jamaica. Get ready to binge watch the future.
God of my salvation, because the mouth of the sinful and wicked is open. Rastafari. Come with I. Rastaman throw one stone, and it break a bad feeling to all wicked men. That's a people there. Make a man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Only when man like Marcus Garvey speak, wicked men would I hear. Hear now hear. Instead of that, they only sit aside and rob and cheat, and not first the poor. Make God what I seen thing. Make a man throw one stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a plan. Make a man throw one stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. My favorite man, if Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see the didn't can sell out Rasta and sell it out. I sell out Babylon. They give man show and stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. They give man show and stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. If Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see the dead can sell out Rasta and sell out. I sell out Babylon. Yes, talk on the Friday. You must go and stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a black thing, man, throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. You have eyes to see, let him see. You have ears to hear, let them hear. What a prophet must say. President Mandela was in prison for 20 odd years. And he leave from the prison and take the seat of the president. Stone one. Big man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling man throw a stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men.
Stibby dim day. We in Global TV says certain kind of friend we no keep. And some informer friend we lovely. We in Global, bona fake friend and bona tape. We in Global, we not promote them, we not support them. Look at them on the cheek, come here represent for. We in Global TV. Check it.
Good evening, globalists. Good evening, and welcome to the People's Point of View. Thank you for joining us this evening. It is still a hot and drunken feeling. Honestly, I still feel drunk. We look like the People's Point of View. It look like we're going to stick with this year time slot, yeah. Because I know you expect it at 6 o'clock Eastern time, but you don't know how it go with me in this summer. When it comes to 12 o'clock, or even now, sleep won't kill me. But would have to walk up and down to keep the time for 12 o'clock. So I think more than likely in the evenings, we're going to be on this time. You know, when it gets back to the standard time, we'll be back on the normal time. But I hope you can understand. Right here now, sleep pick me up and just throw me against the wall. So, but there is DeAndre Miller, you know, the YouTube DeAndre Miller, not the TVJ RJR Gleaner group, DeAndre Miller. Oh, it's 6 p.m. Eastern time now in which country? Because in Jamaica, it would be 5 p.m. now, isn't it? Because some of the country have different 1 hour period between them. But we're going to have to juggle for that time, yeah, in the evening. DeAndre Miller from YouTube, not the one from the RJR Gleaner group, did a piece on the FID issue, which, if you have not heard it or seen it yet, I want to bring it to your attention because I don't want the government to think that FID and the corruption with Dennis Chung is behind us. To my community of party and all my family members, platform moderators, membership holders, viewers, subscribers, commenters, and trolls, good evening. Welcome one and all. Thank you for joining us. Sharon Bernard, good evening. Debbie Jervis, TV, good evening and welcome. Thank you for joining us. Who else is here? Marcia Thomas, good evening. Sunshine, good evening. Canadian Girl, good evening. Violet Watson, Andrea Joan Hamilton Wilson, Michelle Lewis Wilson, Pauline Dixon, Pamela Akola, George Eagle-Eye, Judith Roberts, Abina Cody, Paula Lewis. Good evening, and welcome, Carol Wilson, Barbara Simpson. Good evening. And I want to say a special thank you to two of my moderators, Debbie Jervis and Sunshine, who funded my mangoes today. And you know what, globalists? I even got guava today as well. I haven't had guava in quite a long time because guava is not so quite popular here summertime, but me run up in a some today and I made use of it. So to Debbie and Sunshine, thank you very, very much. Suzette Williams, good evening and welcome. TikTok, good evening. We are on TikTok this evening on Global TV AP because, you know, we get dot this morning from Global TV. Debbie Jarvis, Dwight, Jeanette Edwards, Morris. Good evening, Martin, Vernon, Prince, Sheila, Delroy. Is it higher? Winsome, unknown user. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. This FID issue, we don't want to think the government think that because we have to be multitasking with this government corruption, because this government just don't do one set of corruption. There's many different corruption this government balances at any one time. So us in media land as well have to carry out a balancing act to keep up with the government corruption. So sometimes on the basis we jump off of something and gone past something else. But certain in this new media age, we'll always come back to the important issues. The corruption. Yes, Debbie, I really got some good mangoes, and may I tell you the guava do me fine, because a long time I don't have guava seed, skin and all. I just make sure I wash it good. Seed, skin, and all. Rennie Nicholson, good evening. So we don't want the government to think that we are on a 9-day mission when it comes to the corruption of this government. Hopton Williams, good evening. Just like how the government give with corruption every day, we are going to highlight it every day, call it out every day, call for the government to resign, call for the government to call an election. But we just want to remind the government tonight that the FID and Dennis Chung's corruption is not behind us. We're always going to ring the church bell. And it makes it, when you observe what has gone on in the whole FID debacle, you worry about the DPP's office, because it is the same people from the service, the Office of the Service Commission, who carried out the government direction or corruption or instruction. They will have to tell us what it is. These are the same people. Instant and how you do. These are the same people who are responsible to appoint the new DPP. Now, given this high-profile investigatory position, investigating financial crimes, Nora Harris, and the person who is placed there has no requisite, don't fit any more the top requisite, I should say. He doesn't fit the top requisite, the law enforcement experience. And it was chimmed down and watered down to put somebody there. Not only his lack of experience, that is a major bother. The greater part of it is his, what you would call leniency, bias, cronyism, or whatever, because he went at great length to let us know and the world know the Prime Minister did nothing wrong. The Prime Minister had nothing to answer to. The Integrity Commission is on a witch hunt. Now, this same very document that Dennis Chung came out and repute, Annie Jones, that same document, Dennis Chung is going to adjudicate over the document. What can go so, as Derek Morgan would say? What can go so? These are not normal circumstances. But listen to Dan Jackson Miller and the dilly-dally, the gleaner, went through with the Public Service Commission, Finance Ministry, and them to no avail. What is the government hiding? This is a public job. This is a high-profile public job that the public is paying for. We're not getting involved in the private sector's business here.
So it's always a big question in government. What are they not telling us? Because government's secretive, they hide things, they're opaque. And the big question right now is, what is the government not telling us about the appointment of Dennis Chung as a chief technical Director of the Financial Investigations Division. I'm Dion Jackson Miller. Thanks so much for joining me. Time for tea.
Carly, good evening.
All right, so first of all, can I have a balloon drop, please? Okay, because we've now hit over 30,000 subscribers on the channel. And thank you so much to all of you who subscribe. Next goal is 40,000. Now we're heading for that 100,000 mark and the Silver Play Award. And you know, so we're going to get there, right? So more subs, more views, more growth, all of that will help me to give you more and better content. And I have so much in store for you. So thank you again. Right now, though, back to business. So you can check out the first video I did on the problem with the appointment of Chartered Accountant Dennis Chung as Chief Technical Director of the Financial Investigations Division. And let me say again, this is a process issue. It's not a personal issue. I'm really sorry it's Mr. Chung that's caught up in this mess because he's a professional. He's always come across as a decent person.
Morris,
but there's some process and governance issues here that the government needs to deal with. There are questions the government needs to answer. And so far, they aren't doing that. So a reminder of how we got here. The Office of the Services Commission put out an ad in the Gleaner in November 2024, advertising the post of Chief Technical Director of the Financial Investigations Division. The criteria included 12 years law enforcement experience. The job we now know was offered the former Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey, who recently retired from the police. But Mr. Bailey is now in the Turks and Caicos Islands as police commissioner, earning us money. So he said thanks, but no thanks. So they advertised the job again 2 months later in January 2025. Bam! Took out the law enforcement experience requirement, replaced it with senior managerial experience, and gave the job to Mr. Chung. And the question was, is somebody with his particular qualifications the best person to head a critical elite agency that deals with financial crime? The appointment also raised some eyebrows because of comments Mr. Chung had made. He was raising concerns about an Integrity Commission report, raising concerns about Prime Minister Andrew Holness's statutory declarations. And that report is now with the Financial Investigations Division, the very division Mr. Chung is heading, and they're supposed to decide what, if anything, to do with it. And I explained in my first video what the issues are with that. So let's break down what's happened since. Now, the Gleaner told us that the Office of Services Commission refused most of the Access to Information Act requests they made. They were asking for documents to do with the appointment. Now, they did get a master score sheet for all the applicants. We're told the top candidate, which I guess we assume is Fitz Bailey, scored 87.6%. The other candidates scored 74.5%, 72.4%, and 59.5%. Now, what that tells us is that the second place candidate with 74.5% wasn't considered good enough to get the job. The thing is, though, without something like a rubric, so we know how they were scoring, this doesn't tell us a whole lot. Was there some kind of cutoff point, like 75% or 80% below which they wouldn't hire anybody? If it's 75%, then couldn't they just push up the 74.5% to 75? I'm just saying there's a lot we don't know here. Now, the Gleaner said that the Solicitor General confirmed that other official documents were identified in relation to what the Gleaner wanted to know, but said those documents were exempt from disclosure under the Access to Information Act law and will therefore not be disclosed. And the Gleaner was told the documents wouldn't be disclosed because it would constitute a breach of confidence, and also it would involve unreasonable disclosure of information relating to somebody. Now have a look at what the Gleaner was asking for and what was denied, and let's talk about that bit by bit. The Gleaner emailed questions to the Office of the Services Commissions on May 29. They wanted to know the reasons why the requirement for law enforcement experience was removed from the second ad. That was denied. Now tell me something. Why the public can't know why you changed the requirements for the job, especially an important job like this? The Gleaner asked who gave the instruction for that requirement, for the law enforcement requirement to be removed from the second ad. That was denied. And again, I'm going to ask why we can't know that. So the Gleaner asked as well, how many candidates were shortlisted after the first ad? That was denied. Now we're really getting ridiculous with the denials, right? Why we can't know that? The Gleaner asked, kindly disclose why none of the shortlisted candidates were selected. That was denied.
Thank God we got Monday.com. You won't believe what new leadership just laid on us. They want
I'm just going to say here, LOL. Kindly disclose how many candidates were shortlisted after the second ad. That was denied. LOL again. Look, the man, those questions are not unreasonable questions. The Gleaner has a right to the answers, and so does the public. Now, look, them not have to tell people personal information. As the Gleaner said, they can say we shortlisted 5 applicants after the second ad. That's an answer to the question. They don't have to tell us the personal information of the 5 people. Not answering such a basic question makes it look as if you do have something to hide. Honestly, it makes it look as if you never shortlist anybody. It make it look like, say, you just put out the ad and then you handed the job to Mr. Chung as a gift wrapped. I'm not saying that's what happened. I am saying when you don't answer such a basic and innocuous question, it makes it look as if something funny went on. I said in my first video, this was not a robust search for the person to head the FID, and I maintain that, having seen everything that has happened since then, right? You don't just put out one ad, you don't get your first choice because the person has another option, and then your reaction after that is then to change a critical element of the job description, put out a second ad 2 months later, and then go with somebody who doesn't have some of the qualifications that you had advertised in the first ad. Sure, things can be changed, searches can be broadened. If you can't find the person you are looking for, I am saying, never look hard. Now look at the actual documents the Gleaner asked for, right? They wanted official correspondence, records of communication in relation to the decision to remove the requirement for the law enforcement experience. That was denied. They wanted to know who authorized or recommended the change in the qualifications. That was denied. They wanted minutes, memos, or decision records from meetings in which the change in qualifications was discussed, and the final recommendation and the appointment instrument of Mr. Chung. That was denied. Remember what I said, information on...
Delroy, I'm not afraid of taking hot questions because I can answer questions in various different ways by attempt to giving the person the answer they're seeking for, by answering either yes or no, or I don't know. So I'm not really afraid of questions. I'm not a politician. And if I'm a politician, I would be the good one who can do a good spin. Not spin in a stupid way like Nestor Morgan, Dana Morris Dixon, Donald Trump, Andrew Holness, and all of these daft people who does some worthless spinning.
Documents that's provided can be redacted. That's some of the information can be blacked out if that's personal information you don't want the public to know about. Then now the Gleaner asked for the current job description for the post of Chief Technical Director and the job description for the 3 previous office holders. That was denied. We can't see a job description for a public sector post, and most joke on a make. The Gleaner asked for a list of applicants for the position, saying names can be redacted for privacy if necessary, including their backgrounds, how they met or did not meet the original or revised requirements. That was denied. Now, granted, when you first read that, it sounds like it could be a little tricky, but as the Gleaner says, it can be dealt with by reductions. Clearly, what they're asking about is a general kind of background of the people who applied. So in other words, if somebody applied and had 10 years law enforcement experience.
You know what is really shocking about this government and everybody around him, them, supporting them, advising them, cheering them on, participating in whatever they're doing. The most shocking thing I find is nobody at all have any integrity, even just to walk away. I cannot be a part of this. That is shocking. Me know someone me afraid to speak up. That I understand. Nobody have no courage to walk away. Nobody have no courage to resign. Everybody thinks this is why Andrew Holness cannot come to it that majority of what he's doing is wrong. Because him have people supporting him, cheering him on, lying to the poor fool, and him look like him turn around and believe it. Nobody has any integrity. Mr. Chung himself should have known better. This job is not up my street. Mr. Chung himself took the job only because Mr. Chung is as corrupt as Andrew Holness. How can you lead? How Mr. Chung is going to be instructing people who come up on a brick wall in FID investigations? How is he going to instruct them? If you come up on a dead end here, maybe you need to look in that direction. Mr. Chung himself has no credibility. Because if Mr. Chung had credibility, he wouldn't even apply for the job because it was up his street from morning, run oneless. Never up his street from morning. So nobody surround this government have any little iota of integrity. Them just barefaced with the corruption just like that. And mind you, they are asking the nation for more time. The confusion I'm having is to do what? What do you think you can do? Or no, it's not what you think you can do, because you'll always make up some bullshit to tell us. What do you think we believe that you can do given another 5 more years? This country.
Why weren't they appointed? And that kind of information can be given, as I said, using redactions to protect people's privacy. The Gleaner also asked for any assessment or evaluation reports, right, that helped to form the basis of the final appointment. That was mostly denied. Remember, we did see that master score sheet. The Gleaner also asked for any communications from the Ministry of Finance in relation to the selection of the Chief Technical Director. Denied. They asked for a copy of Mr. Chung's contract. That was granted. I should say, by the way, I think the salary range for this job as advertised, 11.4 million to 15.4 million. I think that's low for this type of job and the skill sets we need. I think it should be way higher. Having said that, story not done. Bear in mind, the Solicitor General told the Gleaner they'd identified the documents. The Gleaner just wasn't going to get them because they were exempt from disclosure. Then came the Information Minister, thoroughly muddying the water to say there weren't any documents. That's why nothing was disclosed, because the documents never existed. So just to let you know, the Access to Information Act, even though it's called Access to Information, what you're entitled to is documents. So you can't call and ask to say, hey, tell me what was said in such and such meeting. They're going to tell you they can't disclose conversations. If you ask for the minutes of a meeting, now you can get the minutes because that's an actual document, all right? So
in relation to him not calling the election because his statutory declaration isn't certified, that wouldn't really stop him. If the aim is putting Delroy, Dennis Chung over there, so Dennis Chung can write him a clean bill of health, it won't sell with the nation or the opposition. So that won't help him out in any way. If he allows the election to run down to the wire, the dissolving parliament to run down to the wire, it might not also work out good for him, because what this onwards is showing is that the Prime Minister is timid for whatever reason to face the electorate. Going down closer to the date, it's going to show at least a sensible lot of us that this is a government who is hoping that something happens that he could hold on to power. So taking it down to the wire, so the GG will have to call the election. Governance-wise, confidence-wise, it will not look good for the Prime Minister. So whatever game the Prime Minister has been playing at the moment, I don't see anything beneficial coming out for the Prime Minister, because if he's waiting for something to give a spring in his step, it's not going to happen, Prime Minister. It's just not going to happen, because even as it happen, a corruption are going to roll out in front of you and things are going to change. It just not. One of your biggest problem, Andrew Holness, corruption pile up on corruption. You not give no time to get rid of any or deal with one, then just come and pile up. So even we in a media land confused of keeping up with your corruption. My belief is the longer he waits, the bigger the beating will be. I think so too. It won't be good for the Prime Minister testing the Constitution, which we have never tested in that fashion before.
Information Minister tells a press briefing that what happened was conversations that would have taken place as part of the interview process. She said that's not a document, so that can't be provided under an Access to Information Act request. And then she said there's nothing to hide in relation.
That's not true. Such a high-profile interview don't conduct by word of mouth. Not even if me go administrator, customer service, or so on interview. It's going to be a recorded interview. Written questions and written answers. The questions that are asked to me, somebody in the room will write down me answer them. It no go so Dana Dixon. Dana Dixon. It don't go so. Just like how Donald Trump come out now, come tell everybody the Epstein file never existed at all. It no go so Dana Dixon. We know better. That's why I say uno no good at lies or spinning.
Onto the selection process. All right, love to hear that. But if that's the case, then stop actually hiding things. Also explain how the Gleaner was told documents were exempt, and now the Information Minister is saying there weren't any documents. Have you explained that? And in fact, if there were no documents, the Information Minister needs to tell us what kind of patty shop the Office of Services Commission is running, where important decisions like that are not recorded anywhere, no memo, no minutes, nothing. No, that would have to be explained. Then no, Ministry of Finance.
Them no need to explain it, because what them say no go so. That was a blatant lie. Interviews for job on a lower scale than that, just at the administrative and the customer service level. These are recorded interviews.
And sends out a statement saying they were clarifying the selection process. Let me say, first of all, anytime you hear government say they might clarify something, it usually means they made some kind of boo-boo. So they want to clarify. I hope so we never notice. Me always notice. Anyway, statement never clarified a thing. And on top of that, they then withdrew it. So I won't waste any time on it, other than to say this whole idea of withdrawing statements after you issue them really isn't a thing. It's out there. Everybody have it. As a matter of fact, people now going to be looking at it even closer to say, what is it you're backing away from? But I guess they can always say, well, we told you we withdrew it, so you can't quote us saying that's our position. Not that there was much of a position in it anyway. So here's where we are. Government says there's nothing to hide, except they're hiding stuff. Basic information the Gleaner was asking for is being hidden from us. The kind of box shuffling and obfuscation that's taking place on this issue raises governance issues. It makes people trust government less, and people are already not trust, right? This make it worse. So what you think? Drop your comments below, all right? Just keep it civil. Like the video, share with somebody you think might be interested, and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so yet, and click that notification bell so you know anytime I drop a new video. I'm Dion. Thank you so much for watching. Back to my tea.
Lachlan, I really don't understand your point. I don't know what you're getting at. I really do not understand your point. Mr. Chung, if it's anyone with integrity, first, Radcliffe, good evening. Mr. Chung would have never applied for the job. Mr. Chung is not qualified for the job. Did Mr. Chung apply for the job, or was Mr. Chung invited to apply for the job? Because these are different things. Who was talking about that, Lachlan? Nobody was saying Dennis Chung went over there to make up anything. Dennis Chung, the head of FID, is an adjudicatory position who would overrule the final decision of what FID says and the Andrew Holness case. That is the argument, isn't it? That is the argument. Dennis Chung can rule to say there's nothing to see, there's nothing to investigate. Isn't that assisting Andrew Lachlan? If Mr. Chung has any shred of integrity, even if he applied for the job, the minute this big brouhaha break out in public, he should have recused himself. That's what people with integrity do. Firstly, him not competent enough and him put himself forward. The nation is outraged. I do believe, Grace, that he was invited to apply for the job. Invited to apply for the job based on his public utterances. Phillyard vibes, wagwan. Based on his public utterances, based on his public defense of the Prime Minister, then I do think he was invited to apply. This is why they don't want to answer any question. Lachlan, I don't know if you're on the same page. People who do financial investigation, I see don't have to ask FID to do tracking and tracing. Tracking and tracing as a financial investigator would be a natural part of FID investigatory remit. Them track and them trace missing, stolen, or swindled, unaccounted for fund. Isn't that what FID remit is? Anyway, let's continue. If Mr. Chung had any integrity, knowing that he's not competent enough, even if he was invited and butter over the puss mouth, at this point where it all comes out, where the public is outraged over it, he ought to recuse himself. Him never have a good track record when he was at solid waste management. Him name there call up over Jamaica Football Federation. So Dennis Chung isn't coming at a place like FID with clean hands. Him name call upon a lot of corruption and a lot of money when him did over solid waste management. So me no know how come Me don't know how come him or anybody will invite him. But then again, if this government are run a court of corruption, then him a go walk and look for everybody corrupt. It was the same debacle where we end up in a with Parla, even though the higher court took the prime minister's side. Oh, Paul Watson, how you do? But the truth is, this is all about corruption. Dennis Chung, he's not qualified for the position. That's the number one part of it. He's not qualified. And at Supreme Ventures as well. So Dennis Chung don't have a good track record when it comes to investigating financial crime. He doesn't have a good track record. He doesn't have a legal background or investigatory experiences. Looking at the nepotistic side or the cronyism side of it, Dennis Chung doesn't think the prime minister did anything wrong. He thinks the Integrity Commission is on a witch hunt after the prime minister. He thinks there's nothing there to see. Why do you think that's not a help for the prime minister? If a person who tell you from before and get there say, no, that they see. It's a witch hunt. I because them bad mind, I because them not like him, because I must say them words there in private. I because them bad mind, I because them not like him. I because they not like the progress for the country. How is Dennis Chung there not assisting Andrew Holness? When Dennis Chung, the technical director, the final decision at FID, Lachlan, you don't understand. The report is not important at the moment. The report is not important at the moment. Anyway, but we're not going to let go of the prime minister and FID. It's blatant corruption. He was placed there to protect the prime minister. Who don't think so? Well, they must know why Dennis Chung is there and who placed him there. But us in Media Land know that Dennis Chung was placed there in order to give the prime minister a clean bill of health, because Dennis Chung have the final say at FID as the technical director. I don't see how that no help Andrew. How that no help Andrew legally. How that doesn't help Andrew legally when Dennis Chung is there to write Andrew a clean bill of health and say nothing is here to see. Isn't that a legal help? If Andrew Holness is found wanting, Andrew Holness will be charged with some offenses under the Integrity Act or the Corruption Prevention Act. Is it not a legal help? Lachlan, you're talking bullshit. It is bullshit, Lachlan. It don't get to the DPP yet. If the only way to go get to Jesus Christ tonight, the only way to go get to the DPP is if FID decide to something that if you send it to the DPP for a charge. If there's nothing there to see, if FID don't see anything there to see, there's no reason for FID to send anything to Paula. What FID are going to get something from send to Paula if FID said not that they see? What are they going to send to Paula? Because it's the investigator who have to send it to the director of public prosecution so they can make a ruling. Lachlan, why I talk about facts, you don't understand what is going on. I don't think you're here right now. That's the truth. I don't really see what facts you're talking about. What are the facts or facts that you're talking about? That means so you couldn't do over for the work then if you know the remit of what Dennis Chung is over there to do. Or what legality is only when it gets in the DPP hand? And that's the last start, Lachlan? Is that where the legal process or procedure starts? When it gets in the DPP hands? I don't understand your logic tonight. Don't know what you're drinking either. But to say to the Prime Minister, we're not done with it yet. Whatever the one will hide, whatever the people them over the Public Service Commission hide, we want to know. And that's why we want an election soon. Because we need to have an election before the Director of Public Prosecution is appointed. Our date of Paula's birthday. Anybody remember when Paula Llewellyn's birthday? When is Paula Llewellyn's birthday?
Paula Stone Williams was born
Me not ask about Stone, me ask about Llewellyn. Mind people business too much Google. Because we want Paula gone before the election. Hold on. Vanessa Llewellyn. Or Vanessa date of birth there. Hold on, let me see if I see Vanessa date of birth. But I'm not say Vanessa date of birth. But Vanessa needs to go before 21st of September. Okay, so if Anjana seek the 3-month extension, then he ought to announce elections somewhere around the 3rd of September, because September 3rd, 2020 was the last general election. So the 5-year deadline would have cut off on the 3rd of September. If he's not seeking to use the 3-month extension, the Constitution would allow him. I can imagine him and Marlene Malahoo, Fort Delroy, Chuck and Derek McCoy a plot away how to come tell the public something. But Jamaica, I don't know where it's going. Because the Prime Minister a try hijack we, while at the same time the Prime Minister might just be shooting himself in the foot. Because this doesn't look good. All right. Let's say before an election is called, Dennis Chung makes a decision on the investigation that was sent over to them from the IC. And that ruling cleared the Prime Minister of any allegation surround the Prime Minister. As we know, Dennis Chung utterances, there's nothing to see. Integrity-wise, that does not help the Prime Minister. And it will not, and it ought not to. Because that's not the only corruption that we're tackling the Prime Minister on. That's just one of the plethora one of the plethora of corruption under the Andrew Holness regime. So, sorry, that won't make it an ounce lighter how we feel. All would happen is that the nation would be disappointed and outraged of the blatant corruption from Andrew Holness and Dennis Chung. That's all. And if Paula gave a ruling to say there's nothing to see, it's the same. We know it's corruption. We know they're Andrew cronies. So nothing that will come out of Paula or Dennis Chung will assist Andrew Holness in our eyes, in the eyes of the Jamaican people, in the eyes of those of us who know that this is a very corrupt, nepotistic thief in thief grass, thief sand, thief lumber up a quick step, thief rather fertilizer, thief Moroccan fertilizer, and thief rather potato. We don't mention the hope of money them with them thief out of education, petrojam, out of every office of government. We don't mention that. So it's not about what Dennis Chung will be doing. It's about how it look. Because what Dennis Chung cannot clear Andrew in the eyes of the people. Cannot. Because I know the integrity, I know the statutory declaration alone, not the statutory declaration alone, is the problem. There are greater problems than the statutory declaration. Because the amount when thief when can certify, we still have another 3 trillion where they can't tell we about. We see the Prime Minister take a whole heap from NHT and mash it up him and him friend them. We see the Prime Minister taking money from road maintenance fund and they mash up the money and the road them mash up. We see how them raid the education budget. We see now them a chop and bulldoze through the national health care. So even if Paula and what's them a call it, even if Paula and Dennis Chung clear the Prime Minister, he's only clear in Paula and Dennis Chung eyes, not another Jamaican, not even labor rights. Not even labor rights would wholeheartedly believe that. Because them bias, you know. The labor rights, them know say Andrew are wicked and thief, you know. But they don't want talk out the load. Because, you know, if you work in an organization, you know how the organizational structure works. I will come into work and I don't tell my manager morning. I prefer just come and rush to the toilet. And then I do everything to make the manager come buck up in me and have to tell me howdy. So when we're in an organization, there's a lot of dopey game we play. All heap of dopey game. So the labor right them. Don't believe Andrew. It's just the organizational mentality. Holy power, we don't agree with something at work and we don't talk about it till we left work. And then when we left work, or if we have a friend at work who we can talk to, we got to go nyam up ourselves about it. So now listen to the labor rights, them want to hear them. It's an organizational structure. Them just are doing it for doing sake. But they don't wholeheartedly support what Andrew Holness is doing. I want to sleep, Darrell Vaz. But me now go start on you tonight. All me ask you to clarify something to it. Old bus or new bus? And that's all me want to know, you know. Me will go sleep. Me will go sleep comfortable, Darrell Vance, when me hear if it's old bus or new bus. Because it look like you know one beat we off to talk about the things that want to go roadside, go pick up. Hmm? The old bus them when America sip and throw down a roadside a dongle heap. Darrell Vance go clear a foreign, go pick them up. And when we fi clap with hand and jump for joy, all me want, me know you can't count in a Darrell, so me now ask you how much bus, how much mileage, and how much money. Me ain't no good with maths. And me no come from, me don't know how me done with numbers, so me no come from Portland. But then Darrell Vaz no come from Portland. Mayor Thompson may come from there. But I could never be a Labourite. All I want you to do, Mr. Vaz, tell us, is it new bus? Somebody gear them? Or you pick them up a roadside? And if a new bus, Mr. Vaz, can you tell us who the manufacturers and the dealers are? This government, me notice them want to force us to swallow the corruption. They want to force us to swallow the corruption. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. We're going to continue to highlight it. We're going to continue to call it out. And we're not going to stop asking. It's too late now to ask the Prime Minister to resign. Even though a resignation from the Prime Minister will trigger an almighty disgraceful meltdown in the Jamaica Labour Party, it would be a great thing. But given we know, say, we now go do that at the moment, call the election. Call the election. If the government intention is that we're rolling out this and we're rolling out that and we're breaking ground here, just give some time to let the people see that we're working. Serious, Prime Minister? Just now. Just now. You're just ready to start work now. When you sit down, a gill off a peas soup, you just a skylark so for 9 whole years plus. I know you're busy. I buck up in everybody in the workplace. Just a pin up this and a pin up that there. So. Prime Minister, you're a failure. Everything around you has failed. It is why you have become so stagnant. It is why you have become so fearful to the point where calling an election is a dagger to your heart at the moment, Prime Minister. Whether you call it or the Constitution, the election will be called. And the morning after, a new dawn, Prime Minister, will break in our country. A new dawn will break in our country the morning after the general election. God know me want to sleep go about this. Me eye them there just show me about so. But thank you all very much for being here tonight. Lovely to have your support. You know, say look like them a shadow ban me pan Global TV TikTok because to say when me depend Global TV TikTok, nobody know over there, but when me depend Producer Wayne or Global TV AP, me think it go, but Jamaica, only make we continue this fight against this crooked government. Wherever Andrew Holness takes this, He's only enjoying the few more weeks of power that he has left. Few more weeks of power, and that will be it for Andrew Holness. So he must stretch out and take every inch when he can get. But certainly, after a general election, the country will be moving in a different direction. Not the same old. No. The country and the people have had enough of the Andrew Holness regime. Thank you very much for being here with us tonight. Join us back tomorrow morning for your At a Glance program, where we continue all over again. Lovely to have your support as always. Thank you and good night from Global TV. Hold on, mate. Oh, Shalom. Sorry, my people. Thank you and good night. Somebody took me away from the phone.
If you don't like missing out on the latest shows but still enjoy classic hits, then Global TV Group 358 is your perfect match. Global TV Group 358 isn't just another channel, it's your ultimate TV experience. From breaking news to binge-worthy dramas and timeless classics, we've got it all. Our unique blend of original content and global favorites means there's something for everyone. And guess what? With GTVG's seamless streaming, you can watch anywhere, anytime. Plus, our interactive features let you be part of the action. So, whether you're a seasoned binge watcher or a casual viewer, Global TV Group 358 is here to keep you entertained day and night. Don't just watch TV, experience it with Global TV Group 358. Subscribe now and never miss a moment.